Okay, so we've got this problem here. We've got a right angled triangle, we've got a 30-degree angle, the hypotenuse is 10 metres and we need to find x. Okay, so the process is as follows. First of all, we need to identify the sides. Okay, we should all know that the hypotenuse is opposite the right angle, it's the longest side. We can label the hypotenuse there. Okay, just from Pythagoras we learnt what the hypotenuse was. The next two sides depend on where the angle is. So here's the angle here. So if we come out to the side opposite the angle, okay, we just call that the opposite side. Okay, and the last side is what we call the adjacent side. Okay, so we've identified the three sides. Now we need to work out whether we use sine, cosine or tangent, and we use that with our SOHCAHTOA. Okay, we're not using the adjacent side in this one, so we can cross it out. We're using the opposite and the hypotenuse. So if we look through here, the one that's got the opposite and the hypotenuse is sine. Okay, so we're going to write the formula. Sine of the angle equals opposite divided by hypotenuse. Okay, what we do from there is we just fill in the information that we know. We know that the angle is 30 degrees. The opposite side is the unknown. That's what we're trying to find out, the length of the opposite side. So that's given the label of x there. We know that the hypotenuse is 10 metres. Okay. So we've filled in the information that we know. So now what we need to do is use our algebraic skills. Okay. So little trick if you're still not quite sure on how to solve one-step algebra. Okay. Essentially this 10 is going to get moved up to there and you're going to times it by the sine of 30. Okay. So we get 10 times the sine of 30 equals x. Okay, so we've just moved that up to there and times it together. Okay. What we do now is we can use our calculator to work that out. Figure all that. 10 times by this one, I think we enter 30 then sine. Okay, and it brings up 10 times the sine of 30. Your calculator might be different. You might have to put 10 times and then hit the sine button, then 30. That's a matter of working out how your calculator works. Okay, but this one I hit 10 times 30 and then did sine after. Okay, you'll have to work that out. Then I put equals and I get 5. 5 equals x, or rather x equals 5, and don't forget the units, metres. Okay, let's do the next one. So again, our steps say we need to identify the sides first. We should all know the hypotenuse is the longest side. Looks like that's what we're trying to find out in this case. Here's the angle, so we come out here. The opposite side. Side opposite the angle is called opposite side. And the one left over is called the adjacent side. Okay, so the two sides we're using, the unknown is the hypotenuse and we know the adjacent, so we're not using the opposite. Okay, so if we go through our SOHCAHTOA, the one with the adjacent and the hypotenuse is cosine, or cos. So we're going to write the formula. Cosine of the angle, CAH, is adjacent divided by hypotenuse. Okay. So cosine of the angle, well, the angle is 25 degrees. The adjacent is 6 centimetres. And the hypotenuse is what we're trying to find out, and they've called that x. Okay, now we need to use our algebraic skills again. Now, again, if you're not quite sure on how to work this one out, the unknown is on the bottom. With this one here, the unknown was on the top, was the numerator. This one, the unknown is on the bottom. What we do is we basically swap those two over, so we get x equals 6 divided by cosine of 25. Okay, and if get onto our calculator. 6 divide by, now again you might have to hit the cosine button first on your calculator. On this particular one I hit the angle first. Okay, 6 divide by the cosine of 25 degrees. Okay, you need to again work out how your calculator works. Equals 6.62. And don't forget the units in this case is centimetres. Okay. So in this one, I'll just recap. The unknown was the numerator, the number on top of the fraction. So we moved that up and multiplied it. With this one, the unknown was the denominator, the number on the bottom. Okay, we swapped those around and it became a division. Let's do one more problem. So I've got this one here. Okay. First step, label the sides. Okay, that's the right angle there. This side opposite the right angle, hypotenuse, as we know. Here's the angle. So the side opposite that is the opposite side. And of course the leftover side is the adjacent side. So when we know the two sides in this case, we want to try to find out what the angle is, because that's theta. Okay, that's the unknown. So we're not using the hypotenuse, the two sides we're using, opposite and adjacent. Okay, opposite and adjacent is tangent. So tangent at the angle equals opposite divided by adjacent, according to our SOHCAHTOA. So let's write the formula. Tangent of the angle equals opposite over adjacent. Now we actually know the angle, we don't know the angle in this case. That's what we're trying to work out. We know the two sides. Opposite is 4 and adjacent is 5. Okay. Now the trick with this one, to find the angle, we do the inverse of tan. Okay, and times that by our number. Okay. So again, you need to know how your calculator works for this one. So I'll try to figure that out now. So the inverse is here, see? Inverse of tan. Okay. So I'd imagine on this calculator I need to do the division. And I'll do the 4 divided by 5. I'll use my bracket. Okay. Then I'll do the inverse of tan, tan to the negative 1. And then that's the angle there, 38.659, which will be 38.66 degrees. Okay. So when we find the angle, we need to do the inverse of tan. Okay, that will cancel out the tan there. Inverse of the fraction, so you do the fraction and then inverse tan it, and you'll get the angle there.